Cheers, guys. Epix911, welcome to the Elitist Geek. VR news for Sunday, October 9th, 2016. Let's jump right into VR. A little bit of preamble that's concerning the schedule for the news videos this week. So tomorrow is Canadian Thanksgiving, and I've opted to take some days off and take my wife to Vegas. So we will be flying out at 8 or 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. So the shows should be fine for all of the days except Thursday. There might be a bit of a delay because we fly out in the late afternoon. Won't be back until sometime in the evening. So I'll get it out on that day. A couple of things that I'm going to document while I'm there. First one being VR coaster ride. Still looking into the details. So I'm going to share that experience on the channel here. And the midnight launch, I figured out finally, yes, I will be there because it happens on the 12th at midnight or 9 p.m. Pacific at the Best Buy in Vegas. So I'll figure that all out, document that as well, and then be back here on the Thursday. All right, into the news we go. The annual Proto Awards award winners, this is a VR industry award show, announced their winners at an event in Los Angeles yesterday. Now, most of the voting took place 14th of September to the end of the month. There was a period in there where all the votes were cast. So some of the winners, you might scratch your head, but remember that fact. All right, so I'm just going to go through the categories, announce the winner. I will have the links. You can check out the runners-up. You can check out the other nominees as well. All right, winners as follows. The best social experience went to AltSpace VR. The best mobile experience went to Tactera. And I got to admit, that's not one I've tried. Most transportive experience, another one that some of you guys ragged me for this one because I hadn't tried it and I still haven't. The Blue won for most transportive experience. So I should probably be trying that fairly shortly. Best game went to Space Pirate Trainer. This is the only one that, I don't personally agree with. All the others I can see, I can make an argument or understand the argument. I would have gone with Raw Data personally. I liked Space Pirate Trainer just fine. The update did come out in time. It came out on the 13th of September for Space Pirate Trainer, which added some content. But the majority of that time, it was just the shoot 'em up aspect. So either way, congrats to them. But I would have probably had them as runner-up. Best interaction design, fantastic contraption. Most innovative, tilt brush. Best sound experience went to Space Pirate Trainer, and it does have good sound effects. I'll give it that. Best original score went to Pearl, and I can see that one too, absolutely. Best narrative experience went to The Gallery, Call of the Starseed Episode 1. Best independent experience, Space Pirate Trainer. So you can see they raked in quite a few. Best art direction, Firebird LaPerry. Best music experience went to Soundscape. And that's a product I've talked about on here. Best user interface, Modbox. Best student experience, Fruit Golf, Colstar Studio, We Are Alfred. Best live action experience went to The Argo File. And finally, best overall award, Tilt Brush. And you can tell from that, Tilt Brush raked in quite a few. So congrats to all the winners. And like I said, additional details in the links in the description. So next up, we have a sequel to Blade Runner. And Blade Runner sequel is going to come out next October, so October 2017. It's also going to be accompanied with Oculus VR experiences. Now, no details on those yet. Some details on the movie. Harrison Ford's going to reprise his role. And this is a movie, I personally love Blade Runner. I liked it before all the hype. And the numerous, director version 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. releases. Ryan Gosling's going to be, you know, the new blood, kind of like they did with the latest indie movie. But still, like I said, no details on the VR experiences other than they are likely going to be Oculus and Gear VR centric experiences. Next news piece, Oculus has a lot of confidence in their collaboration with Walt Disney Studios. They believe that it will set a much higher bar for virtual reality work. And if we look at Oculus's earlier work, they did Henry, which was an animated VR film that actually won them an Emmy. So speculation is obviously that it's going to be some kind of animated feature in virtual reality. Next up, Juniper Research. Kind of hot on the heels of Michael Abrash's prediction. They predict that the VR hardware market by that same year, 2021, will be worth $50 billion. And the hardware that they make up, or that makes up that figure of 50 billion, is HMDs. So HMDs from all the various manufacturers, peripherals. So those are all your controllers, your lighthouses, your cameras, and of course 360 degree cameras. So stuff like the Gear 360, Nokia's solution, all of those come together to hit that 50 billion. In fact, they predict at the end of this first year, hardware revenues will be 5 billion. So I don't know, that one's going to be pretty tight. We'll have to see. I don't think it will. I think it'll be under that, but we got to wait and see what Sony's going to be able to pull off. Speaking of Sony and the PlayStation VR, UploadVR reports that they have a frustrating camera distance problem. Now I'm going to put up a picture here, and in the picture you're going to see the optimal, catchment zone for the PlayStation VR system for tracking. Now, where it starts to break down, according to UploadVR staff, is at about the 10-foot mark, which consequently is where a lot of people like to sit away from their TV playing their PlayStation VR. And they actually had to place a chair midway because they were constantly losing tracking on their couch. Now, they did have a small narrow window with their gamepad where they could place the gamepad and have it be tracked. But even just the smallest movement to the side, up or down, they lost tracking. And they said it was a huge issue for them at that distance. And, while they got it to work with a chair, it's probably going to come up as an issue for a lot of people once this launches. So it'll be interesting to see how Sony responds. I haven't seen the pack-in paperwork that comes with it. I don't know if it's that picture I just posted, if that forms part of it, or if they're going to have specific details, on that optimal tracking catchment zone. So we'll have to wait and see. Next up, resumes and virtual reality. So Lloyd's Banking Group is probably one of the first companies that is going to use virtual reality headsets to test potential candidates on skills they have listed on their resumes. So obviously skills that will be relevant to the position that they're applying for. And I got to admit, that's a pretty novel way of testing a candidate. I had thought of the solutions like augmented reality more for body language, right? Nuances that you may miss on Skype, for example. I've done Skype interviews. I've done panel interviews. I remember at Electronic Arts, I had 3 people interview me at the same time. And so that would be a new one in VR. I wonder how that's going to work, how effective that's going to be, because it's typically something that doesn't happen. At least it hasn't happened to me. Things that I put on the resume, they're usually called to task when I'm actually on the job, never during the interview phase. So be interesting to see how that works out and how it evolves. Is that something that's going to catch on? because I do notice that there's a lot more testing happening, period, of candidates. There's people who do, all kinds of psychological evaluations for depending on the positions, all kinds of different ways that just weren't there 10, 20, 30 years ago. Next up, Digital Comics. Madefire launches its first virtual reality app. Now, currently it's free. It has some demo comics to show off for the technology. And I kind of like what I see. Now, I've been a comic fan. I've mentioned that before, since the 70s. First comic I got into, my dad purchased me a Conan the Barbarian. I still remember it was in the 50s, and it was John Buscema and Ernesto Chan, two of my favorite artists for Conan of all time, and I was hooked. Got into DC, got into other Marvel stuff, and gotta say I have enjoyed, I like feeling the actual comics, but I was okay after having made the transition to books, to ebooks, and I was one of those guys. It was tough to convince me, but once I was on board, no problem. And the same with some of the comic ebooks, right? The way they handled some of the panels and things, no problem with that. This kicks it up a whole new notch. So this includes animated panels, sound effects, music scores, dimming panels that you've read already. In short, it looks pretty damn amazing. There's a YouTube video I'm going to link. Have a look if you have time. Shows a couple of those examples. Like I said, lots of cool sound effects, lots of action, and really a good way to revitalize the comic industry for the current and future generations. So very cool. Have a look. That's it for the news, guys. Lots of packing to do. As always, cheers, and definitely catch you on the VR flip side.